I knew from the very start that she was cheating behind my back. But I was waiting for the right time to make sure that I can expose her. And as the sale of Black Friday came, I bought all the necessary gadgets that were necessary to uncover her evil personality. I was a top student in cybersecurity and she was a cheerleader. We both were class fellows in one semester. I started to help her out with computer assignments. We grew closer with time, and right after graduation, I could not wait any longer so that I could express my love for her. And to my surprise, being such a beautiful person and attractive personality, she agreed to marry me. Without wasting another month, we got married right away. We both were young and full of ambitions. It was a pretty close family event and we were pretty excited for our life ahead. She had an explosive and fiery personality from the beginning, so I was the one who was mostly tolerating her anger and her criticisms. Yet we kept things under control and tried our best to give each other a personal space. She was a party girl from the very start. This never bothered me and never occurred to me that even after marriage, she would still continue that lifestyle and would still be attracted to other boys. I was assuming that she might change, but I was wrong. First time I clearly remember, it hurt me a lot when we both were at a party and she was showing way too much interest in our football team captain. I tried to engage in conversation and requested her, "It's getting pretty late and we should head back home." But she was very much persistent in staying there, having conversations with him. Instead, she said to me that you can leave if you prefer. This made me very angry, yet I kept quiet and I waited for the event to end. But that was a turning point for me when I felt that the way she was talking to him. It won't be long before she engages with him on a more intimate level. My doubts turned right when she started having regular conversations with him on chat. Since I was a security expert, I always knew her internet history and what she was going on in her computer. Although she had her doubts that I had a tap on her, but we never discussed this openly. Reading her intimate conversations was already painful enough for me to take any action. So, as the Black Friday sale arrived, I came up with a plot to purchase all the necessary gadgets and deceive to uncover her identity and to teach her a lesson for once and for good. It was first year of our marriage, yet we were already falling apart and almost having arguments on daily basis, so she started to find her comfort somewhere else. In this period, she was absent most of the times during the day. Since she was not doing any job, staying out of the home for such long hours was already skeptical enough for me. So I installed a tracker in the mobile so I may know where she's going, and I was shocked to know that she had been meeting that football captain for a month now, almost on a regular basis. Uncovering her cheating and exposing her was my priority. One thing I have learned in all these years of my life is that once a cheater is always a cheater. So there was no error of doubt in my mind that she was just doing this to have an adventure and change in taste. But what saddened me the most was that the institute of marriage is such a pure relation that it must be kept pure and should be protected, because giving the commitment to someone is for life, and you give your heart and your soul and put your best efforts into building this foundation of the most beautiful relation in this world. And to support each other in thicks and thins in life, and to celebrate together, and to cherish the beauty of life is the best feeling one can experience. Having everything in life, a loving husband with a stable job and a really good home in a beautiful neighborhood, yet she was planning to have necessary adventures, was something that should not be taken lightly. So I plotted for once to catch her red-handed, and secondly to make sure that she learns a lesson, and thirdly to expose her boyfriend on social media so that everyone knew that he is a cheater and homewrecker. Being a techie and passionate about gadgets, as Black Friday came, I first purchased one of the most expensive Ray-Ban glasses with hidden camera and some of the best hoax alarms that can be controlled remotely from cell phone, and also a few other tracking devices, as well as some of the most expensive softwares that could be used to conceal IT and address so no traces are left behind. As I purchased everything, I set the plot in motion and waited for the right day to come. As the weekend started, she mentioned that she will be going out with her friends and will be coming late. I did not answer, but I knew where she would be going, so as soon as she left, I started to follow her. First, they met at the stadium and soon sat at a cafe for lunch, and right after that, they arrived at his apartment. The first phase of my plan was to catch them red-handed, so I planted all the fire alarms at various places outside his apartment to spook them out. As they went inside, I hacked the transformer and started to fluctuate the electricity. I slided inside false smoke via chimney, and after like 5 minutes or so, I activated the second phase and all the alarms started to trip off. Just within a couple of minutes, they both rushed out in panic as they were dressed in half. As it was not already enough, she was even more shocked to see me standing there. My glasses had captured the images, and now I had the proof of betrayal. She was utterly silent and could not speak a word. Her eyes were down in shame and guilt. Upon asking her, "Do you know him?" and she quoted him that he is my husband. Even he got scared. He suddenly assumed that I was there to beat him up. I just gave them both a very disappointing smile and looked full of pity, and without saying another word, I just left the place and came back home. In the next phase, the first thing that I did was to replace the locks with a totally new security system so that she may not enter, and turn off the bell. The second thing that I did was I sent all those captured images to the boyfriend. He got a pretty clear idea of what he had been doing behind my back, and if he does this stuff again, these pictures will be leaked to all his family members and friends. He got scared to the core, and since he was not expecting such kind of news, he deduced that this will definitely damage his reputation and will be kicked off the local league and might get banned from participating in the national league. He immediately backed off and terminated all contacts from her, and since I had also changed everything from security passwords to locks, she was simply unable to come back home. She also had no choice but to move back to her parents. Now, the interesting thing that happened was she started a social media war and started accusing me of fraud that I had not committed, and posted random accusations on her social media, and her friends also started to comment and engage with her in her support. She had no clue that those intimate images which were taken by my Ray-Bans were only shared with her boyfriend and not to her, and he also had not told her why he had backed off. She was very furious that I had invaded her privacy. I was hoping that things might take a good turn, so I met up with her boyfriend and requested him to never contact her again. It would be in the best of interest of all the parties involved, and he promised that he have learned his lesson and he is very serious about his career and he has no intentions of stretching it any further. She, on the other hand, was on a rampage and was posting every day very negative things about me. Now she was specifically campaigning that I am a terrible person and how bad I have treated her. So all of her relatives and friends were showing sympathy towards her. Even though I could very easily show everyone her pictures, I refrained from doing such a thing, as these things were beneath me and I wanted to resolve which in the long run might repair our relationship. Couple of days later, her mother called me. It was something very daunting and intimidating to me since I never wanted to meet her, but she insisted that I come to her office and clear it all up. As I went to her office, she started to inquire and ask me why I had been treating her daughter in such a bad manner, why I had been tracking her and keeping a tab on her every move. Even though this was never my intention and I tried to clear everything up, yet she had no clue about what actually had been happening behind the curtains, and I did not want to insult her daughter in such a bad way, as it was our private matter and I only wanted to conceal it and move forward and maybe have a good brand new start, yet the odds were pretty much against me. So I apologized to her mom and told her that this was never my intention, but in the end she is the one who was making this whole fuss up and was creating such a huge melodrama out of it. There were utterly no need to tell every friend and cousins of hers that I was basically a bad person. So now things are getting pretty serious. It's better if she stops now. This was not taken in a very good manner, and as she told her daughter that she had met me, she was even more furious and immediately stopped her mum to contact me again and messaged me that she's going to ruin my career and life and soon she'll be suing me. I still kept quiet. Then one day an even more strange thing happened. Her boyfriend again contacted her since I was tracking both of their phones just to make sure that things are not going as they were going before. But to my disappointment, they were now meeting somewhere directly. This really messed up my mind since I was going out of my way just to protect her. But now I had no choice but to initiate phase 3, so I prepared everything and launched it. What happened next was something that seriously made her regret her choices. Since she was never at a leverage point, yet she assumed that she had some sort of upper hand when they both stabbed me in the back. I made sure that now they pay everything that they owed me. One should never do this to their spouse, but if things go out of hand, it's better to make sure to take full responsibility for your actions, and before coming to any conclusion and taking some serious decisions, it's better to know the consequences that will change another person's life forever. Keeping this in mind, I had no intention to leak their pictures. They were just for me and me alone. Yet I wanted to teach them a really solid lesson that will never be forgotten. Now since they were both meeting again and again on various places, I took no chances and started to follow them and took lots of their pictures with this time in mind to take them to public places. Now all those pictures were pretty intimate. I made sure that everyone knows what had been actually happening behind my back, and before I published them on her profile, I hacked both of their laptops and hacked their bank accounts and crypto wallets and transferred all their money to my offshore account. And since they both were at a loss, I also emailed her boyfriend's coach with all the evidence that this person has been acting as a fraudster while making other people pay and scamming them. I also hacked his coach's email and took out a couple of $100 just to prove my point and donated them to the charity. He received the email and now he has no doubt, since Jason was already invested in cryptos and was pretty vocal about it, and so he kicked him out of the team and reported him to the supports board and was totally banned from football in any state. This was something of a good lesson for him. Now, as my wife was concerned, since all of her money was already transferred to my account, and I lastly had her pictures publicly posted on her Facebook, tagging everybody in her friend list. I gave everybody evidence what actually had been happening, so everybody saw that she was spending more time with Jason in those public pictures that were intimately close. The next day, her mother called me and she apologized for her previous behavior. I told her that this was the basic reason I was not sharing, as I wanted to keep it a secret while hoping that she might come back or at least apologize. But on the other hand, she became arrogant and stiff and now was threatening me with different lawsuits. Now, this was a lesson that she would remember for life. What happened to Jason was something that took a very serious turn in her life. He immediately left her, even left the state and never contacted her. Since she had no choice, now she came and requested to meet, but it was way too late for us to get back together, so I just requested her to never text me again. I did my very best, and even after cheating, I protected her identity and never wanted to hurt her. I just wanted to teach her a lesson, but she was the one who went on rampage and caused this whole melodrama and even told everybody that I was creating such havoc in her life. Now it would be better that she take the responsibility of her life and live with the consequences that she has brought on herself. She was very upset to hear all this, but now there was no going back.